to the Dads Who Diaper podcast.
Nobody ever says, "Hey, Daddy, thanks for knocking out this rent."
Who says dads can't change diapers?
I'm the cool dad. That's my thing. I'm hip. I surf the web. I text. LOL. WTF? Why the face?
Your boy's a handsome lad.
Thanks. She's actually a girl. It's my daughter.
Oh my God.
Yeah, her hair just refuses to grow.
Coming to you live from the Dads Who Diaper studio, it's Paul and Chad.
This is the Dads Who Diaper podcast. I am Paul Snowden. The man to my left has more holiday spirit than a Starbucks eggnog latte. It's Chad Carter.
One day I'm going to sit on your right. Every time you've made that intro. To my left is Chad Carter. Just to, throw you off a little bit, I'm going to sit to your right.
So how was your week?
It has been a busy week. We've done a lot of traveling. We were in Texas. We went to Central Oregon for a weekend. We've got a little bit more left to go. So it's been busy, but it's been fun. And little guy's holding up fantastically well. How about yourself?
Good. A little bit later on the show, we are going to talk about you using a babysitting service.
Ah, yes.
And as a parent, it's one of those things, it is so weird because you have a stranger, legitimately you having a stranger come to your house and watch your child.
Yeah, you know nothing about them. All you can go on are online reviews. Fortunately, for our case, the reviews are fantastic, but that doesn't change the fact that you've got a complete stranger that you're turning your child over to for a couple of hours.
All right, so we'll get into that full topic in a few minutes. And then my child, who's now like 21 or 22 months old, something like that, I don't know. I'm happy when they get to the years old, so I just know like 2, 3, 4. I don't know how many exact months my kid is.
That's funny.
Am I supposed to know that?
Most people do. Though I understand the having to stop the need to count. Don't roll your eyes.
How old are you?
I am 34.
But how many months are you?
Well, I don't know.
See?
But see, at 2 months or at 2 years, you're at 24 months. So just count backwards.
Anyway, at whatever age my child it is, he's starting to reach now. We're starting to see this. All of a sudden, it's rearing up independence.
Yes. We're seeing that same thing a little bit, but probably not to the same extent as you.
Yeah, I mean, every kid has a little bit of independence, but now he's full on like, I don't want to do that. No, thank you. I'm doing this. No.
Just flat out no.
Yeah.
And does he throw a tantrum? Does he do the whole like melting to the floor? Does he scream and yell?
Well, we've had some techniques that have worked for us a little bit. We'll get into it a little bit later. I don't want to get in the full thing now.
Sure.
But, yeah, so we're reaching independence. Hopefully it's not what they call the terrible twos.
Oh, how do you feel about this whole independent stage?
Well, it's one step closer to him moving out. The quicker you can reach ultimate independence, the better for me.
Okay.
And we did get a fun new little thing for our house, and I sent you a picture of it. It is a stool. It's one of those safety
That's
stools.
called a stool?
Well, it's like a learning palace, or I can't remember the name of it. I'll do a full review coming up the next few weeks once I have a chance to completely use it.
Okay.
It's supposed to be for the kitchen mostly, I believe. It's like a safety stool because the bottom part raises up and lowers. So your kid can kind of help you in the kitchen and work on the counter, but it won't fall off.
Right. Yeah, it's very sturdy, it appears.
We've been using a chair, and he loves to help my wife make cookies or clean the dishes with the sink. And a couple times we've had a couple close calls where he almost flit off the back of their side of the chair.
Oh, sure.
And so we got this, and we'll test it out and see how it is. But right now, it's doing really well for us.
Well, in the video that you sent me, he was a percussionist banging on the pots and pans. And I liked halfway through the video, he stopped and used the wooden spoons that he was drumming with and clapped for himself.
Yeah.
He thought his performance was quite good, which it was, and then went right back to banging on the pots and pans. No, I was intrigued.
The best part was he stops and goes, "Hello, Cleveland!"
Cleveland rocks. I found it intriguing because I didn't realize that's what it was. It almost looked like you had flipped something upside down just to give him a wider platform to stand on, but now it makes sense that it's an actual kind of stool, protective, a safety stool.
Yeah, it's got little steps on the side and then a place where you can stand, and that goes up and down. It lowers depending how tall your child is, and then it's got walls kind of on four sides.
Interesting. Okay.
So we'll do a full review, I think, a little bit later, but So far, my son loves this. He's the kind of kid who wants to only be active in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So whether my wife's cooking in the kitchen, he wants to be there. Doing dishes, he wants to be there.
Well, I like that you're starting the chores early.
Definitely.
Well, no, I am dead serious on this because it's one of those things where it's very easy as a parent to get sucked into doing everything for them. They take out all the toys. Okay, well, I'm going to pick them all up and clean it back up. Getting them to understand that they also need to partake in that is important. And, you can start earlier than you probably think you can. And that's probably something that we should, at our house, should probably start thinking about.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're already doing it, but from an early age, we made him put his toys back.
Mm-hmm.
We'd be like, pick that, put it back in your toy box,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll do it. And all right, grab the other one, put it back.
Mm-hmm.
And if he wouldn't do it, you grab his hand and kind of help
him, guide him. Yep.
And so he knows he needs to put that back in the box when he's done.
Good. It's crazy how quickly we're starting to see things stick with him because we've been working on the baby sign language quite a bit, and now we're getting to where, like, within a day, he'll pick up a new sign.
So you're sticking with the sign language, still not like a verbal language?
Oh no, we're doing both. But
Okay.
he's not. He's got Nana down for banana. He's kind of in a strange way he can say turkey. But we're still obviously working on the vocal things. But in the meantime, like, we're teaching him new signs so we can kind of bridge that gap until we're fully there.
Perfect. Now, what does he call your mom?
Grandma.
Okay, not Nana.
No, we don't have an Nana. We have grandma, and my wife's mom is mama and papa, and then my parents are grandma and grandpa.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so coming up next, we're going to break down Chad's adventures in online babysitting. Ooh.
That sounds scary.
It sounds scary, but was it? We'll tell you next. It's the Dads Who Diaper podcast.
It's the Dads Who Diaper podcast.
I remember as a child, my mom would leave me, my brother, and my sister in the car while she ran into the grocery store. If you did that to a poodle now, they would fry you on the 6 o'clock news.
So we know the holidays are coming up. Obviously, Christmas lists are everywhere. Your child wants a lot this year. Yes, that's right. The jolly man coming down the chimney quite soon. But you know what? You deserve good things as well. And so this week, last week, and probably for the next few more days after that, we are posting a lot of reviews on dadswhodiaper.com because we want you to have a lot of great information for when you go and decide to buy toys or games for your kids, or if you are looking for something, if you're a new parent and you need a diaper bag, or you're looking for bottles or games for yourself to play with the kids, whatever it may be. We have a lot of reviews happening on Dads Who Diaper right now, just because we want to make sure that you have great information and are able to educate yourself when you go to make those purchases for Christmas. So make sure you check out dadswhodiaper.com. We're going to continue with those reviews here coming up, and don't forget to sign up for the newsletter while you're there.
Perfect. All we ask for is your email address. We don't spam you. We only give you the once a week email. And we promise we will not sell your information to anyone, no matter how much they beg, cry, or plead.
That is a guarantee.
Guarantee.
Okay, Paul, so we are heading out on a little bit of a family ski trip here shortly. And we're leaving the country. We're not going far, just to Canada. But we have a 14-month-old who isn't ready to hit the slopes just yet. And when we were doing some research, and when I was logging on and looking at the resort's kind of daycare options and all of that, their cutoff was 18 months.
So you and your wife are comfortable, first of all, having someone else watch your kid. That's okay.
Well,
I mean, because you both have decided to talk to each other that you're both going to go skiing at the same time.
Right. We want to go. This is a family trip where it's not just us. We have extended family going and all that good stuff.
So wait, can they watch your kid?
No, because we all want to go skiing together.
So it's a family trip, and you're all going to do family things except for your kid who you're leaving behind.
Well, just for a few hours a day.
But anyway, though, so you talk to your wife, and she's okay with the idea of getting somebody. So that's the first step.
Yeah, it's not easy. Let's be honest. You kind of talk about it and say, well, what are you going to do?
Because your wife's a little more protective.
Well, I think most moms are. It's one of those things where it's my baby.
Dads are like, he'll watch TV.
He'll be okay. So the cutoff for the resort's kind of childcare was 18 months. So we were a little bit shy of that, and we know we wanted to go skiing and at least spend a little time on the mountain. So we had to look into it, and we found a babysitting nanny service that kind of works for the community there.
So how did you find it? Did you ask the resort? Did you Google online?
We did both.
Okay.
I didn't actually call up the resort, but when you look at the resort's website, they were directing you to this particular agency, and so then I went and scoped out the agency, and then I went and scoped out the reviews, and then I went and I literally tried to find every bit of information I could about this particular agency.
Now I know we talked to the CEO of Urban Sitter. Did you try out Urban Sitter?
They are not operating in this particular market, so
Okay.
that was not an option there. But it's a good idea. By the way, you can go back and look at and listen to that interview with Urban Sitter, or read their interview on dadswhodiaper.com. Just go into the search feature there at the top of the website and type in Urban Sitter, and a lot of great information there. But I found this agency. I looked at all their reviews. I looked at their whole thing. Just kind of tried to get as much information as I could. And when I was looking at their reviews, all of them, and I kid you not, all of them were 5-star reviews. So that actually threw up red flag for me, because I was kind of like, well, wait a darn minute here,
Because we know some places, which I don't want to mention them, have famously
inflated
and or removed less than 5-star reviews.
Right.
And so that's kind of been a big court battle right now. Some
Right.
online review places are removing less than positive ones.
Right. And so I went in and I looked at not only what they were reviewing, but what they were saying, and looking for red flags that this may have been written by somebody, this or that. Fortunately, they all appear to be quite strong and legitimate reviews. In fact, there was one from Portland right here of a gentleman, saying about their experience, and they all were similar in the sense of the experience was a very, very good one. They all talked about their, concern about leaving their child with somebody they weren't very familiar with. But, in today's day and age, with photo texts and all this kind of stuff, you can quite literally say, send me a photo of what you're doing right now. And if you don't get one within, 10, 15 minutes, that could be a red flag. So there's some kind of inherent safety.
Are you going to do that? Are you going to ask for a a email or text?
We'll probably ask for text throughout the day, just so that we can see him and see, make sure he's doing okay. But, it's one of those things where you can kind of dictate how overbearing you want to be about the whole situation.
How much of a helicopter parent you really want to be?
Well, it's not a helicopter parent. It's just, no, it's not. Don't look at me like that.
It is.
No, I think when you're leaving your child with somebody who you've never met before, I mean, literally you meet them when they come to the door for the first time, it's just that more comfortability factor. A helicopter parent to me is saying, okay, from this time to this time you're doing this, from this time to this time you're doing this. We're not going to do that. Like, we just want you to entertain him and take care of him, change his diapers, make sure he's okay. But we just want to make sure that you are also keeping him safe.
My rule is, when someone watches my kid, all I want them to do is be alive when I get back. I mean, healthy and obviously, but
those are your rules. I'm sure your wife's rules are quite different.
Whatever you do between when I'm gone and when I get back, whatever it takes to entertain my kid, you just do that.
I don't believe you truly believe that, but nonetheless,
I truly do.
No, I don't believe that. Nonetheless, so anyway, so we found this agency. We went ahead and we did it. I booked it. I reserved it, and so we've got some, I'm sure, very nice lady come into the house.
So you don't know the exact person?
I don't. We find that out when we get there, of who it's going to be. And
are you going to have the same person all the days?
That's a great question, and that I'm not sure about. This agency, the resort we're going to we're going to Whistler. Well, there's no reason not to say it. It's a world-class resort. They get people from all around the world, and and so different countries have different expectations for childcare. And we were talking beforehand that this is the type of industry that if you get a poor review, you're not in business very long, especially in childcare. And so you almost have to be, on point, make sure that things are legit, run your background checks, run, all that kind of stuff, because if even just one bad review gets out there, it could sink you. And so, I feel fairly comfortable in the sense that, this place has been around for a while. They've got some good reviews. They got many good reviews. And so, we're going to take a shot. And, if after the first day is a terrible experience, then we'll have to rethink our, what we're going to do.
Was there an option to have an American babysitter?
No.
Uh-oh. Your kid's going to come back saying, hey?
That's all right. It's more polite than huh?
Now, if you don't have to get the exact numbers, but how did you find the overall cost for this babysitting service? Reasonable, kind of a little high, but you have to go with it?
It's a little high, but it's in Canadian, and currently the exchange rate is favorable for Americans. So it is about... It is slightly more than what we pay right now.
Because, I mean, it's obviously a premium because it's a destination resort.
Mm-hmm.
It's a convenience factor. They're coming to your location.
Right.
So you're going to pay more for all those things.
Right. But surprisingly, it's not overly expensive as I kind of expected. And again, with the exchange rate, it actually works in our favor. So, it's not terrible.
Now, were there any other things I don't think about? Like, do you have to pay for their lunch? Or
No, it's a flat fee. It's an hourly fee. You're required to pay cash at the end of the day. And they bring their own lunches. They do all that. Now, you can say, I mean, there's a whole bunch of activities around the area that you can say, I want you to go do this. I want you to go do that. And if you choose one that has a cost associated with it, then you pay for that for your child to go and take care of it. And you
have to pay for them to attend it too.
Well,
right?
usually they don't get charged.
Okay.
I think they have like deals worked out with some of the places around there.
Nanny gets in free.
Yeah, exactly. Just pay for the kids kind of thing. So, it's one of those things where our child's, we're not going to be doing swimming lessons with them. We're not going to be doing, all that kind of stuff. So really it's like, go to the library, go walk around the village, go get a hot cocoa somewhere, like those kinds of things. And it's only for a limited amount of, a couple hours a day. And then it's all done.
As someone who has dumped off my kid during vacation, it's not that bad.
To who?
Well, when we're on the Disney cruise,
Mm-hmm.
they have a bunch of different, daycare areas.
Right.
They had 0 to 3 years, and 3 to 6, and 6 to whatever. And our kid was 3 months old.
Mm-hmm.
And we dropped him off and picked him up. He was fine.
Right.
It's like at first you kind of think about it. Then you see all the other kids are fine.
Mm-hmm.
The people they met are lovely older ladies who love the kids.
Right.
And you pick them up and no harm's happened to them. And they're
Right.
happy to go back. And
Yeah.
So, you realize, you know what? It's fine.
It is.
And it's nice to have some time away so you actually can be with your wife and be like, you know what? Let's have a little time to ourselves.
Yeah, no, it's great. And that's what a lot of the reviews we read, it's like we wanted to go out and have a date night. And, this person was great. They showed up on time. They, fed, bathed, put down, we came home and our babies were resting peacefully and there were, no problem. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. The first time you do it, you get over it. And once you do, it's kind of, no big deal. It's the research, it's just finding a place you feel comfortable with, wherever you may be going.
And I think it's easier for us, I think at least me, because my wife's parents are in town. So my child spends usually every Sunday night at her parents' house.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of their thing. And they watch him quite a bit. And we have friends who watch our kid if we need them. So we have a network of people who already watch our kid a couple times, kind of like you do. I'm sure your parents live in town. So they take care of your kid. So you're comfortable with the idea of somebody already watching your kid while you're away.
Oh, sure.
Some parents, their kids too, and no one's ever watched their kid but them.
We've run into, on a few trips that we've taken, we've run into some parents, one in particular that I can think of. They had a 9-year-old daughter, and this was the very first time they had ever spent time away. Ever.
How are they sane?
I don't know.
That's my thing. Just for our own sanity.
Yeah.
And for the sake of our marriage, I think we need time to ourselves away from our kid.
Exactly. But you know what? To each their own. And, if you're considering something like this, or if you're, trying to plan a trip but not quite sure what you're going to do, research and take that research with a grain of salt. Use common sense when you're reading those reviews. Call them up, talk to them. I actually talked with them. I called them up and, asked a few questions and this and that. Don't hesitate to do that. If they're a legitimate service, they will have no problems taking the time to talk with you and make sure that you have all the information that you need.
Yeah, I guess the only thing you find ways to wrap this up would say is, look at all the reviews. Try to Google their company, not just on their website. So to see more than just the reviews for their website. Because if there's a negative review, people might post that on Yelp or Angie's List or anywhere you see, a blog might talk about it. Google up the name of their agency.
Right.
And call them up like Chad did. Look at the things they also can do. Like, do you want your kid to walk around and get hot cocoa?
Right.
Do you want them to stay in the room? Is there something to do at the resort?
And if you're, staying here in the States, the Better Business Bureau, you can always look up on their website and see, what kind of rating they have or if there's been any complaints filed against them. So, it's not so much about being a helicopter parent or being overbearing or anything. It's just for whatever that comfortability factor is for you, try and figure out if you're going to be able to alleviate it by the information that you find.
I guess, long story short, do a little homework. You know what? Just don't drop your kid off some random guy at the corner.
Yeah, that's probably the best opportunity.
All right, coming up next, my child starting to reach independence. Dun, dun, dun. That's next, dadswhodiaper.com.
From the website Dads Who Diaper comes the Dads Who Diaper podcast.
Hey, Chad, are
Yes.
you a real or fake kind of man?
Real. Absolutely, 100%.
So I'm down with fake.
I know you are.
And we're talking about, of course, the Christmas trees. It is the Christmas season. And our house, we have the fake Christmas tree.
I saw that the other day. It looks nice.
Well, you want to know the secret about this? And like all things in my life, it's because I'm cheap. And not just because the fake Christmas tree costs less money per year, but the year before we got married, I knew that the next year we were going to want a Christmas tree. 'Cause we were going to be married. My wife's going to want one.
Mm-hmm.
So like in January, they were blowing out all the Christmas trees. I bought a fake one dirt cheap at Home Depot and held on to it to the year after when we were married.
So you were planning that far ahead.
Yeah, I think I got like 90% off or some crazy
Wow.
number.
All right.
So that's what you should do. I think you should buy a fake one as a backup.
So I'm not a fan. We have always cut down our own tree. We live in Oregon, which is the biggest Christmas tree producer in the country. And so they are, literally you have to avoid not finding a Christmas tree farm around here.
Chad, aren't you going to be ecologically friendly?
I am. I'm not buying something that's falsely produced and made out of toxic materials.
Whoa. Why are you crushing my holiday spirit, man? No, I use mine year after year, thank you.
Mm-hmm. No, you do. And you know what? I don't know. It's fun. We go, we find the tree, we cut it down, put it in the back of the truck, bring it home, haul it in the house. Is it a bit more labor intensive? Yes. But for us, it's family tradition. It's what we've always done. We've always had a real tree. And, now with the little one, it's fun to take him out there and show him the forest.
This is something we should get into later, maybe a different podcast after the New Year's season. But as a young family, I think about this occasionally is, I should start thinking of actual family traditions that I want to do with my family and start now.
Yes.
Whether it's Friday pizza night or Saturday board games or going a particular place or,
going and cutting down a Christmas tree
exactly.
each year.
All those things, whether they're holiday seasons or not, every once in a while I think about that. Like, I should start legitimately taking time to think about family traditions that I should start and then start them now.
I think that's single-handedly pretty much the reason why we still go and cut down a tree every year. That's what we did.
Wait, you go and cut your own tree down?
Oh, of course.
You don't go to a lot?
No. We go to the farm and I cut it down.
Oh, to a farm. Okay, I thought, because here in Oregon, you can actually get like a Forest Service permit.
Yes.
Where you could actually drive out to the forest, chop one down, shake the squirrels out of it, put it on your car, and drive back into town.
Well, you can even top one. You can basically take down a massive tree and then just top it, take the very top portion of it, and that becomes your Christmas tree. It's thinning and forest, prevents forest fires and all that kind of stuff. They issue permits. It's only so many a year, blah, blah, blah. But no, we go to the Christmas tree farm where they harvest trees and ship them all around the world. But we cut it down ourselves. And, because I have like fond memories of doing that as a kid, I want to continue that tradition for Wyatt and have him remember that each year and going out. And so for us, that's why we still do it. Like I said, it's more labor intensive and, you're bringing a live tree in the house. And so you got to pick up the needles and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. For us, it's fun and I enjoy it. And I think he will, especially when he gets a little bit older and can walk around and what about this one? What about that one? And, and that kind of stuff. Is
your wife going this adventure?
Oh, yeah. She loves it as well. She grew up in Texas where you went to, Home Depot or whatever to get your Christmas tree. They come from Oregon and they cost 12 times as much. In fact, her sister-in-law last year texted us a photo of her tree, and there was a little tag on it that said from Corvallis, Oregon.
$289.
Exactly. They're super expensive, and we go out and we cut it down for ourselves, and it's like $12.
Yeah, most people don't realize. Actually, I don't know what people pay, but we pay somewhere between $15 to $40 for a gigantic full Christmas tree here in Oregon.
Yeah, I think last year we had a 9.5-foot tree, and I think we paid like $20.
I've never been to your house because you won't tell me where you live, but you must have a tall ceiling.
It was literally touching. I mean, it was really close.
So you don't have a star on top or anything?
No, we had the star. It was just covering up. I didn't put it at the very top. I just leaned it against the very top portion of it.
The top had to bend over the side.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a fan of large trees. I think they're cool, and we're actually...
And you throw them on the top of your Subaru and drive back home?
Just drive down. Fortunately, my dad has a truck, so we throw it in the back of his truck and drive it home that way. But no, you're right. Traditions are fun. And, we've kind of diverted off of our independence track here.
A little bit, but we're just starting talking about Christmas. It's the season.
Yes.
You got to get in the holiday spirit, Chad.
I'm very much in the holiday
spirit. And then
spirit.
afterwards, you just throw it out to the curb, your tree, and hopefully someone picks it up.
Nope, the Boy Scouts, they come by. In fact,
they come to your house?
Yeah, they do. They so we have a school not far from our house, and that's where they chop it all up into chips and everything. So they put a little thing at our door every year, and they say, put your tree out by X time on these dates, and we'll come by and pick it up. And they charge us like $6 or whatever. So it's a fundraiser for them. They take care of it. We literally just pull it right out the front door and drop it on the curb.
I think that the city of Portland, and you have to look, every city is different. They actually do allow you to chop it up and put it in your recycling or your compost bin.
Yes, and Portland's unique like that because we actually do have compost bins. But
they're not bins too; they're cans like this. It's bigger than my trash can.
Yeah. Well, because here in Portland, you only get trash pickup every other week. But yeah, it's like the size of a recycling bin. But yeah, you can do that, and whatever is. Some people like to haul it away. Whatever.
I'll make the story only the one time, but my friend in college, my good friend. Alan Skya, he lived in his own apartment, and he wanted a tree because his parents lived in Ohio and they're coming to visit. So we went out and got a big tree and put it in his apartment, and then afterwards he had to get rid of it. So what did we do? Threw it in the back of his truck, drove out to the country, and just threw it over the side, and then just kept driving.
Oh, sure. No, I know a lot of people that still do that.
They frown upon that, though.
It's not ideal, but you just go somewhere that's kind of
remote.
Yeah, remote, and probably not going to be seen.
On the way to the casino, you just pull over, throw your tree out the window, and call it good.
Be like, hey, we're done. Hopefully, you don't still have lights attached to it, but nonetheless.
All right, so we digressed, but our main thing this segment we were going to talk to is Independence, which is a different holiday. No, my son, who's almost 2 now. I'm starting to see the signs where he wants to do his own thing. All right, time to take a bath, buddy. No.
Don't want to do that.
No, thank you. All right, here's some chicken nuggets. No. Turkey. No, we're not having turkey. That was Thanksgiving. Gobble, gobble. No, we're going to have, chicken nuggets. You like chicken nuggets. Here's some ketchup. No. And you're like, oh, come on, just eat the darn nuggets.
What about, is he doing that with all meals? Because you've talked before about how you like to give him 4 different options.
No, really, to be honest, I'm not overplaying this, but it's not as bad as you'd say. Like, it would be like, no nuggets. And you're like, all right, fine. If you're not hungry, here are your options. I don't want to eat. You put him down, and 10 minutes later, he comes up. Hungry? Yeah. All right, here's what you got.
Right, same as before.
Same as before, and then he eats it.
Right.
And it's like bath time. You just put him in the bath, and you're like, you're going to have a bath. And after like a minute, he plays in the bath.
Right. So at this point...
So the hardest thing, I think, with Independence real quickly is when you have to do something like you have to pick him up for the bath, he might try to swing his little hands or bite, which biting's no.
Yes.
So we put him down, we walk away.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, all right, mom said no biting. Biting's bad. You set him down, you walk away, leave him alone. And then he gets mad or sad that, you obviously, chastised him. And he comes walking up to mom crying. He's like, sorry, mama.
So I mean, clearly asserting independence. I mean, in the long run, it's a good thing. But what are you doing? Like, does he throw the tantrums? Does he turn into a puddle and just fall to the floor? Does he scream and yell in the middle of the grocery store? Like how frequent have they become?
They're not that frequent. We haven't had any in public. Like, we don't take our kid out in public that often because there's not that many opportunities. I work, or he's at daycare, or we take him in the afternoon and we do shopping. Like, I'll watch the kids. Sarah goes to the grocery store sometimes. And most times he's pretty good at the store. There'll be a million things to distract him. He's not at the age yet where if I tell him to put something back, he won't do it. Eventually, he'll get sad that he doesn't get that toy.
Right.
But, I think that happens is he starts crying. Like, if we say, like, no biting, we'll set him down and walk away. He'll kind of fall to the floor and do it like melt in a puddle.
Yeah. And
kind of cry a little bit. Realize you're not there. There's no one to watch his tantrum, and then gets up and walks back to you. I think that's the thing is, if you don't let the kid have an audience for his tantrum, they pretty much stop right away, from what I've read.
Yeah, I mean, it give or take a little bit.
It's all a show.
We've tried, for us, it's with eating, because he is now not eating things that he previously really liked. And he just picks them up and throws them on the floor, and he likes watching the dog run over and pick at it. Well, at first, it was really funny, and, we would kind of get a giggle out of it. And then we realized real quickly that we couldn't do that anymore, because then he started doing it for the audience, not for anything else. So now it's like when we give him something that we're either wondering if he's going to eat, or we know that previously he's eaten, did not like anymore, and we're trying it again, we just won't pay attention to him. We just don't look at him, don't talk to him, just let him. And it actually has worked where he will pick up something and start eating it a little bit if we just don't pay attention to him. And it's hard to do that, but it's something sometimes you have to do.
Yeah, I don't know whether Mark Kidd was better about this or the training, but when he first put him in the high chair, we had the incident where he'd pick it up and throw it over the side. And our rule was, if you threw anything over the side, you had to get out of your high chair. And so...
And he understood that?
Yeah, we said, like, no throwing, and pick him up and set him down. And then he'd be hungry, he'd want to get back in, we'd put him back. He'd eat, if he threw anything over, he had to get out of the high chair. And so it didn't take long to realize that throwing something over the side meant you had to get out and can't eat anymore. Kind of like bathtub. If he stood up in the bathtub, you had to get out. So he knew, not to stand up because bath time was over. And so we drilled that in pretty early.
Yeah, y'all are like drill sergeants over there.
Well, we did that early, and then we took care of the problem.
Right. I
think that's almost like kids are. Is you almost have to drill in. These are the consequences. They're extreme. Once you know they're over, it's over.
Interesting.
And then we don't have any problem with him throwing stuff over the side.
Not anymore.
We have, the basic high chair. We have the section and the 2 cup holders on the side. If he doesn't like something now, he'll take it and put it in one of the cup holders. But he won't throw it over the side.
Okay. Well, you have cats. You don't have a dog to come and lick it all up. When our dog's away, we're really bummed out, because then it means we have to clean it up.
Well, yeah, there's still the mess on the... Like when he flicks the yogurt spoon, and the wall has yogurt. It looks like a Jackson Pollock painting.
So how are you, just as we wrap up here, how are you going to try and, are you going to encourage independence, not necessarily with like no's and whatnot, but like to get him to say, okay, you need to go, work on cleaning this up, or you need to go and do this? Like, how are you going to kind of work that independence into a positive?
Well, I think a lot of times we offer choices. Like every night now we say, pick out which pajamas you want to wear. And he loves that. He goes and opens a drawer, and he's like, balls, no. Monsters, no. Dinosaurs, no. Oh, spaceships, yes. And those are the ones he wants to wear. Monkeys, yes. And then he gets to feel like he picked out those pajamas. And then we're like, all right, what do you want for snack? We give him options. Do you want muffins, or do you want fruit snacks? Fruit snacks. Okay.
It's probably always going to go with fruit snacks.
No, he loves muffins. He loves bars. He says we get like fruit bars. And so we give him choices, and he picks out that. All right, for dinner, do you want milk or do you want water? Do you want to take a bath now or 2 minutes from now? Something like that. Do you want to play the piano for a few minutes? So we try to give him a lot of choices.
Right.
And so he has to take a bath, and he has to eat. But it's like, all right, for fruit, do you want oranges or pears? Because we're going to open a can either way for him. So you give him a choice. And so giving him choices lets him have a little bit of independence, but, you still get the thing accomplished you want to do.
Gotcha. All right.
And so what do you think for independence in your house?
Yeah, as we talk often, we're not quite to being able to make those decisions yet. He can tell us, especially with the signs and some of the talking that he's doing, but kind of what he would like. But we're not to that point of being able to have him do as much as Carver is. But we're definitely seeing that kind of sense of like, if something happens that he doesn't like, we get a scream or a yell. We don't get the drop to the floor kind of thing, but he's definitely being more vocal about what he wants, especially if he doesn't get it.
It's always easier when they can tell you what you want.
Right.
Or what you want and they want.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, you asked earlier why we're continuing with the signs. And really it's because we're trying to, until he can really communicate more options with us, we're trying to give him the tools to do so, to eliminate the outbursts.
So as we wrap this up, my last final thought I promise people is that I was thinking that a couple days ago. Your life as a parent changes so much for the better once your kid can communicate what they want.
Right.
I mean, whether it's the simplest thing that he wants milk instead of water for dinner, whether he wants muffins opposed to this, whether he wants a blanket in the car, your life is so much better once they communicate what they want.
Right. And that's why we're doing the signs. I mean, he can tell us whether he wants milk or he wants mac and cheese or he wants pasta or, whatever it is that he wants. Like, he can start to tell us those things with his signs so that we know now before he can actually start talking. So, you know what? By the way, quickly, we did the signs for a long time before we started reaping the benefits of it. But now it was totally worth it because we're actually being able, he can string that. We taught him together, like, more pasta, please. And so now he can string them together and create a sentence essentially for us to understand what he wants.
And he can translate in public if there's a deaf person in your household.
Yes, I would maybe.
Okay. Always got to work on that second language skills.
Yes.
All right. So this week on the podcast, we talked a little bit about Chad's babysitting adventures.
Yeah. If you're going out of town and you're wondering who's going to be able to step in and fill that role, if you want to go out and enjoy some of your time together, we talked about research. We talked about, just being able to be smart and feel comfortable that it's okay. You're probably gonna be okay with your decision.
It'll be okay to have some time alone. It's probably better for you and your marriage and your wife and your family to have a little time to decompress away from your kid.
Right. And fortunately, we'll have other family there so they can watch them in the evenings and whatnot. But, we all wanted to go skiing together for a little bit, and this was a good way to do it.
Aren't we talked about just now recently the independence? My kid's starting to flare up independence. What we're trying to do to, let him learn on his own the right kind of independence, what we do when he does the wrong kind, and kind of the stumbles Chad's probably going to be seeing that I'm already experiencing.
That's right. You are my cheat sheet. Just look at what you're doing. You say, okay, this is how we're going to do it.
All right, so next week on the podcast, it's going to be a little different. It's going to be a little shorter because the holiday season. We will have a podcast out, but it'll be shorter, kind of a truncated Dad's Two Diaper podcast, but I promise we'll be one there.
Yes, absolutely.
And so look for that.
Yeah. And you know what? As you get closer to the holiday season, don't forget to check dadswhodiaper.com. We've got a lot of great reviews up there. So you can kind of check out some of the great products, the hot products that are out there for the kiddos these days, and even products to make your life a little bit easier as a parent. So check out dadswhodiaper.com for all those reviews.
All right. For Chad Carter, I am Paul Snowden. Check out the website, dadswhodiaper.com, for all your parenting needs. And of course, if you enjoy the Dad's Two Diaper podcast, tell a friend. Review us on iTunes. Your word helps spread this message. It is the Dad's Two Diaper podcast.